Welcome to the Carlito Monroe Show. I am your host, Carlito Monroe. And this is my very first episode. And if you can see in the title that I've decided to call WTF Nia Long. So I'm going to talk about that a little bit. But before we get started with that, I'm going to tell a little bit about myself. The reason I started this solo podcast is because my wife pretty much got sick of me telling her stories and my viewpoints on different things. So she said, "Hey, you ought to start a podcast and start telling people on the internet about it. And maybe they'll be interested, and maybe not." So I said, "Yeah, I think I'll try doing it." So this is the result of that. I'm doing all the editing and got the equipment myself, so I don't know how it's all going to turn out, but I'm gonna give it a go. Um, First, before I get started with all of that stuff, we have my information at the bottom of the screen somewhere. I don't know which side it'll be on, but everything, all the different platforms is going to be under Carlito Monroe Show. My YouTube, please like, share, subscribe, comment. I welcome trolls, good, bad, and different. It's all the same to me. Um, the Instagram, I think at some point I want to do a like kind of a call-in show, like a Zoom call-in show, or maybe have a telephone or something like that. But with the Instagram, follow the show on Instagram, and then I'd be able to do like a mass email to do maybe a Zoom call or something where I can interact more with the people that watch the show. And the Cash App, donate whatever you want to donate, $1, $2, whatever, just to help the show out. And if you put too many zeros in there, it won't be too bad. I won't complain about that at all. But yeah, that's another thing I want to start with too. Is I want to give a shout out to the truck drivers. Uh, Transportation, I think, is really important, and I think a lot of people forget about the guys and gals out there driving the trucks and to moving the freight and getting things around, and where I'm able to go get toothpaste and women are able to get makeup, you're able to get food items, just whatever on the shelf. That stuff is there because of these truck drivers that we take for granted every day. So, usually when I see a truck driver, I'll say thanks for your service. You see people thanking military people for their service, which they should thank them, but um, I think you should also be thanking truck drivers. I think they do an outstanding job of, you know, while we're at rest, they're out there working. And, so support your local truck driver. You got a family member, brother, whoever. Just go up and say, "Hey, I appreciate your service." I do it all the time. I frequent truck stops to get snacks and different things when I'm heading to work. So uh, I've grown to have appreciation for them. And as the show goes on, I'm going to have on different trucker hats and different things that I've gotten from truck stops through the years. So uh, I have a level of appreciation for these men and women out there that does that. But let's get started. WTF Nia Long. I think I have a little bit different view on this whole thing. I mean, true enough, the guy, I think it's pronounced Emo Udoka or something to that effect. I just know he's the head coach for the Boston Celtics. But they're saying this is a scandal. He cheated on her, and how dare he? And and I gotta admit, it's not right. It's wrong. But I'm not going to condemn the man because the man is in a certain position in life that he's going to run across a plethora of women that may be hard to resist at times. Is that excuse? No, it's not excuse. But um, I think that's his situation that he's in, and he's being condemned for it. But now they're saying there's more than one woman. Then the woman that they did have up initially saying that wasn't her, but she could be one of many. Uh, there's talks that there was a staffer that helped schedule the move to Boston or something to that effect. I mean, yeah, I mean, in the coming days, I'm sure there's going to be more information on that as it goes on. But everybody's just pointing the finger at him. Nobody's even considering that Nia Long could have had something to do with this. Not saying he's right, but just saying just a different side of the coin. Just hear me out. Nia Long is not above getting cheated on. She's not. She could be attractive. She could be, Hollywood star, movie star, whatever, but she's not above being cheated on. I don't think anyone is above being cheated on. I think everybody is their own person. Men are men, women are women. You have your own way of doing things. You're an adult. You can do what you want. Just because you're married, that doesn't mean that you won't cheat on the other person or the man or woman. That doesn't mean that. But let's go into that. Let's unpack that. They're not married. So is that cheating? I mean, society says it is, but is it really cheating? If you're married is one thing, but they're not married. They've been dating since, I think they said 2010. They got engaged in 2015. They have a 10 or 11-year-old son together. And it's 2022 going into 2023. I mean, engaged 7 going on 8 years. And what that alone, I mean, what's wrong with that picture? I mean, isn't that the cart before the horse? You meet somebody, you have a baby with them, and then even after having a baby with them, a few years later, I guess both of you decide to get engaged, and then you're still not married. And then I want to say maybe it was a year or two ago, somebody questioned her or said something about her on one of these shows, and her reply was, that's not that important right now. That's not important. I mean, that's not her words verbatim, but in a nutshell, that's what she said. It's not important. So why get engaged? This is why I'm kind of saying WTF for Nia Long, because she's the ideology of that. A lot of women are doing that now. They're putting the cart before the horse. And I don't hold her up to a certain standard, but since these women do, she has to represent that position. She would have had to do better to show that, hey, this is how it should be done, so the little boys and little girls will see how it's done. But she's doing it exactly like everybody's, like the masses are doing it. So, I thought about this the other day. Is it easier to have a baby than it is to get married? I don't think it's easier. I think it's easier to get married than to have a baby. But in today's society, what is marriage? How does marriage come about? It takes two people. It takes the man and the woman, or whomever is getting married. It takes both parties to decide if this is what's going to happen, if we're going to get married or not. So the man has to agree, or the woman has to agree, or both parties have to agree to get married. Then you have to put money together, and then you'll get your marriage license, and then your wedding, and everything. So there's an agreement there. When somebody has a baby, these days it's not an agreement. A lot of times the men are like, I don't want a baby, even though they didn't do what it takes to not have a baby, and that's their fault within itself. They still, I don't want a baby, and then the girl's like, well, I'm having it. So it's easier for a woman to have a baby than to get married. So the roles have turned. The roles have reversed. So Nia Long is no different than the average woman. So while they're holding her up high, like, she's this herald woman that shouldn't be cheated on or can't be cheated on, and what is wrong with him to be cheating on someone like her, she's no different than the average woman. It's just her job is she's an actress. That's the only difference. Her job is she's an actress. Just like your job may be Subway to make sandwiches, or your job may be Taco Bell, or your job may be a teacher. But on average, that's what it is. she just works for a living. Her job is to be an actress. And I'm trying to think of the last movie she's been in, and I'm sure she's working. I don't remember the last movie she's been in. But the point being, she's an actress. She's doing what she has to do. That's her job. So why are we holding her up higher than the average woman when she is just that, the average woman? She's just the average woman. Her job happens to be she's an actress. That's it. Is she attractive? Some hold her a little higher than others. I myself, I think she's okay. But that's just my opinion. The masses say she's outstanding. So that's to be considered. But she's just a regular woman like anybody else. So if she's a regular woman like anybody else, why are you condemning this man? Because this man is a man like anybody else, but his job happens to be the head coach for Boston Celtics for right now. I mean, we don't know where that's going to go, and he cheated on her, I guess, but they're not married. So is that cheating? That's the question people need to ask. They're not married. So is that cheating? But everybody wants to say, yeah, that's cheating. Yeah, he cheated on her. He's wrong. How could he cheat on her? Look how she looks. It's a saying, and I may get this all wrong. You show me a really good looking woman. You show me a couple. I probably got this all wrong. You show me a man and a woman, and the woman's really good looking, and I'll show you a guy that's tired of being with her. And that's what it is for the most part. So he's probably tired of being with her. Who's to say she's even a good woman? We're on the outside of the fence looking at this. Is all speculation. Even everything I'm saying is a speculation, except for the fact that they are not married. That's not a speculation. That's what it is. They're not married. So, but maybe he was tired of being with her. Maybe he wanted something different. Maybe he's been wanting something different and he's sticking around because of his son. Maybe this is why since 2015, 7 years have went by and they're still not married. She wants to make it appear that, oh, well, we're not married because, I don't think we're supposed to be doing that right now. No, that's not what it is. I mean, I don't think that's what it is. I think he just don't want to marry her. And I think he still doesn't want to marry her. I think the way things are now for PR reasons, he would probably marry her now to make himself have a better light on himself. You know what I mean? Because according to public opinion, he's not looking good right now, according to public opinion. But I really think that he's just a regular guy. And this is a guy that's making millions of dollars. I'm assuming at least millions of dollars being a coach. He's making millions of dollars of putting together a team, and they made it to the finals last year. You know what I mean? And I mean, that's who's really going to suffer. The Boston Celtics fans, the players, they may not make it as far just because of, the coach not being there. They're suspending him. So, but they say there's more to the story. He could have been dealing with a lot more women than just one. They're saying it was rumored something about a vice president's wife or something. I mean, that alone will get you fired. I mean, if it's like somebody messed around with the manager's girlfriend or something, this is your last day of making sandwiches. You know what I mean? That's just how it is. So I think that's something that could easily happen. So he could probably maybe fire. Who knows? There may be more to it, but they're acting as if there's a lot more to it than what it is. I mean, Shaq has come forward saying that he's not going to speak on it because he was a serial cheater. Shaq said he was a serial cheater, but let's talk about that. Shaq was a dominant force in the NBA. He made millions of dollars. He was on commercials and everything. Pretty much every woman in the world was at his fingertips. How could his wife expect her to be enough for him? That's just not realistic. That's not realistic. But I mean, I'm sure she thought he was enough for her. I'm sure she felt like he shouldn't cheat on me. I'm me. That's not how that works. Only in the United States that means a different. Everywhere else, that doesn't mean the men are in charge. Everywhere else, and the men are in charge. Here, women have a voice, and I have no problem with a woman having a voice. But with women having that voice, they're running men off. They're running a lot of men off. Now, Nia Long, her being who she is, if she doesn't stay with this guy, another one will come along because she's Nia Long. But if she lets too much time get by, her looks are going to fade. There's some actresses right now. They have some show. I want to say it's a Fox Soul show where they just on there bashing men and talking different things. It's 3 or 4 women on this panel, and all of them were, good looking women in their day. And they're not good looking women now, but they're older. They're all 50 plus. And well, I don't know if they're all 50 plus, but a lot of them are older. And I think it's going to be tough. I think it'll be tough for them to meet anybody. And a few of them didn't even have kids now I think about it. A few of those women on that panel didn't even have kids. So we don't want Nia to get to that point. She's got kids, and I really think she should stick it out with him. And hopefully he'll marry her behind this. But I mean, who knows, man? It's tough. But relationships are funny anyway. I mean, I'm gonna go into a relationship I had at one point, an ex-girlfriend, and she did a lot of stuff. And I remember telling my mother, I said, I never marry her. And then my mom's like, well, you're just wasting time. You should marry her. What I said, nah, she just, I guess you could say I was a simp. I guess you could say I was a simp because at the time, when we were dating, she had a lot of male friends. I remember her going on girls trips, and any guys that watch this show, if your girl's going on a girls trip, man, I'm gonna tell you right now, it's not a good look. It's not a good look to be going on those girls trips, and yeah, it's not a good look to go on those girls trips, man. Because when when she went on the girls trips, on the both trips, it was a group of guys that went both times on these trips. That's crazy. They went both times on these trips, and I didn't know about it. And she wanted to try to act like that something was wrong with me when I questioned her about it. Oh, it's just the girls going up. But who knew it was a group of guys, 5 girls and 5 guys going on this cruise? You know what I mean? And then another time they went somewhere else. I can't remember where he went. And you're supposed to be my girl, but then you didn't tell me about it. And then I find out about it. And then you still act like something's wrong with me. But me being in love, being young, I just felt like, hey, I got to put up with it. I love her. I mean, she didn't do nothing. I was just a young guy. Who knew? Hey, I was just trying to do the right thing. But, I'm sure it was all wrong. But the thing that really stood out with me with her, it was one time that she went out. She's like, oh, I'm going to this house party. She told me I couldn't go to the house party. And I was just like, what? Well, I can't go. I said, oh, okay. I'm thinking it's okay. She goes to this house party, and she didn't come home that night. She didn't come home to the very next evening. I had went to work and worked the whole shift. And then she came home like 4 o'clock that evening, 4 or 5 o'clock that evening. And then her and the guy pulled up, and he was like a known drug dealer, villain guy. And I was just like, I didn't say anything to him. He got out and said, oh, you straight? She said, yeah, I'm straight. He gets in the car and he leaves. And then her hair, she didn't have weave. So it was a real hair, but her hair was a mess. It was all over her head. She flattening it down, but it's still clear that some furniture moving been going on somewhere, at least from my point of view. And she's just like, no, that ain't what's going on, blah, 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 blah. And then she got mad at me because I was trying to question her about it, and I just let it go. I let it go, and in the back of my mind at that time, I was like, yeah, nah, I'll never marry her. I'll just stay around until I meet somebody who's worth meeting. And every time I would meet somebody, I blew them off. Every time I would meet somebody, I blow them off. I just blow them off. Oh, I got my girl. I mean, I probably... My wife now, I probably wouldn't been married to her if I'd have chose one of these other women that was giving me opportunities, but I kept turning them down, trying to be with this chick that's going on girls trips. So, yeah, you can call me a simp if you want, but that I don't feel like that's what it is, man. And that whole alpha male, beta male thing, look, man, I look at it like this. Everybody, in my opinion, everybody is an alpha male to a degree. I feel like I'm an alpha male to the degree. Well, I'll tell you this. I know I'm an alpha male to the degree, to a degree. When I go to the DMV, I am not an alpha male. I am a beta male. They're in charge. I have no say so. I have no nothing when it comes to the DMV. I need them. And they know I need them, so they take advantage of that. And, and you end up getting put out of there. That's it for the day. And you've wasted hours and you still haven't got the documentation that you need, whether it's license plates, title, whatever. You haven't got it done. And so I think that's why a lot of those people at the DMV are extremely rude. But yeah, I'm a beta male when I go there. But hey, once I leave there, I'm an alpha. If you're an alpha at the DMV, you're a liar. You're a liar before you're an alpha. That if you say you're an alpha at the DMV, you're a liar. And the thing is, I'm big on conflict resolution. It's not a good idea to always fight back and try to fight somebody and do this and do that. You got to let some stuff go. I'm an older guy. I mean, I'm doing my best to stay out of the penitentiary because for a black man, it's not hard to go to the penitentiary. It's not hard at all. So what you try to do is conflict resolution. I mean, if you can resolve it, if you can get somebody to, calm down where cooler heads can prevail, then you'll do that. I mean, I'm down for that. I mean, if I got to go, I got to go. You know what I mean? If I got to fight, I got to fight. It is what it is, but I do my best not to take it that direction. But needless to say about the ex-girlfriend with her, I stayed with her eventually, and finally I left. I couldn't take it anymore. I finally left, and the straw that broke the camel's back is that I actually went on a couple of dates with a girl, and she found out about it because I think it was like one of her friends saw me out or something like that, and she went off on me. I mean, she went off on me and I was everything under the sun, and how dare I do this and how dare I do that, and what that looked like me out with some other woman. Meanwhile, she's been out with several men through the years that she's calling her friend. I do it one time, I'm the worst man in the sun, but that was out of my character as far as she was concerned. That was out of my character. So it blew her mind, and it was just like I was the worst thing under the sun, and I was just like, you know what, that's it. I'm not going to do this with you. That's it. And she didn't try to fight me because she felt like she was just too cool for that. You know what I mean? But she was highly upset. A lot of calling, trying to get a hold to me, and I was just like, I wouldn't talk to her. I cut her cold, and I wouldn't go back to dealing with her any kind of way. And that's a big thing, the big mistake that men make with women. They'll break up with them or not be with them, but they'll still go back and have sex with them. That's where, and this is a sign for the ladies that may watch the show or listening. If you have a guy and then all of a sudden the windows are getting broken out or your paint on your car is scratched and different things are going on, or the baby mama is upset with you like that, he's still dealing with her some kind of way. On a sexual nature, he is still dealing with her. That's why she's so emotionally and mentally tied to him like that. Because once I left my ex, I didn't have any of that. All I had was calls. He wasn't trying to come clown with me and the new girl I was with. It was none of that because I wasn't dealing with her. Because when I break up with you, I'm done. We're not going to be sex buddies or none of that. I keep it moving, and that's my advice to anybody. But the average guy is like, oh, I'm gonna dip over there and dip in here too, and I'm a pimp. Nah, man, you just causing trouble. You just causing trouble for yourself and the girl that you're with now. And if y'all got kids together and both parties got kids, it's just trouble. It's just trouble, and there's some people that just like it, and I'm just not one for that. I'm a calm spirit. I like to just mind my own business. I don't think that's a good idea, but yeah, man, I wish the best for Nia Long. I hope it all works out. She does have a little family, and before she knew what was going on with him, if she didn't already know, we don't know that part, but say she didn't know, what was going on with, I think his name is Ema Udoka or something like that. I'll just say the coach. Even if she didn't know what was going on with the coach, if he put on a great acting job with her, she needs to let it go. Let it go just for the good of her family and the good of her peace of mind. That would be my advice for that situation. But I still kind of think she knew what was going on. I mean, if she's a logical, reasonable woman, she would know that that's what that is when it's a guy making millions of dollars. Any woman out there right now, if that man is making millions of dollars, he's going to do what he's going to do. That's just what it is. But I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. I didn't want to go as long as I did. But if you like the show, like, share, subscribe. Follow me on Instagram, the Carlito Monroe Show. Click the like button, subscribe. Try to get so many subscribers, and I'll probably try to do a Zoom call or something like that, and where to be more of a call-in show. Hit the cash out $1 or $2 if you like the show or whatever the case. Hey, but I want to get this show, try to get it going. I'm not looking to make money off of this show. It's just a voice. And if somebody's willing to hear me and listen to my viewpoints and the different stories and different things I had to say about what's going on, and that's what it is for me. But hey, you see your truck drivers, man, thank them. Thank your local truck drivers, because they don't have to do it. They don't make anybody apply for those jobs. If everybody just said, I'm not going to do it anymore, you know what kind of impact that would make on the United States? I mean, the railroad strike was going to be a huge impact on the United States. So, I mean, you got to thank these guys, man. Thank anybody in transportation, but I mainly say truck drivers because that's who I run across, and there's so many of them, and they're grossly underpaid, So shout out to my truck drivers, and like, share, subscribe. It's your boy Carlito Monroe. Peace.